Hello and welcome back to Talkin Tigers with me, Auburn TFC. It's good to see y'all. I'm recording a little bit late tonight because I'm going to have to post this in the morning. So, we won't have a stream tomorrow. We're just going to be posting the video on YouTube. So, today, I just wanted to take a second to talk about something that I saw earlier today. ESPN had released their odds for how a team can make the college football playoff, and they had Auburn at 12% to make the college football playoff. And then I asked myself, what would it take for the Auburn Tigers to make the college football playoff? Well, I took some things into consideration. I looked at the schedule and I thought, okay, this would be a good video idea. So to start, you absolutely have to do what I said with my original schedule predictions. You have to go 5-0 in your first 5 games, and you have to win them all convincingly. Not just win them, but win them by 1 or 2 or more scores. They can't be close. They need to be well-won games. And then at that point, you have only 1 away game victory, but you do have 3 SEC wins. After that Tennessee game, you go into your bye week and you come out, and then you have to go to Athens and beat Georgia by 2 scores. When it comes to Georgia, a team that everybody's going to be counting on to make the college football playoff, you have to beat them convincingly to set yourself in that spot. Hey, this is a playoff team for what's about to come. LSU comes to Auburn. You have to win that game. Just win it at all. But then, I think at that point, you lose to Ole Miss. You're just riding high, but it's taken a lot of energy to get to this point. So it's gonna, suck the energy out of the building when it comes, or not suck the energy, but it's gonna be very tiring to keep that up. So you eventually, drop one to Ole Miss in that game where you go to Oxford, but you only lose by a score and it's a close game. Then you go back home for Arkansas and you beat them by 3 or more scores. But then you go to Starkville, Mississippi, your second to last SEC game, and what is also your second to last away game, and you go there and you dominate, show that you are who you say you are, and you dominate in away game in another opponent's stadium, especially like a pretty decent home environment like Starkville, Mississippi for the Mississippi State Bulldogs. And then when Sanford comes, you rest everybody rest all your starters, all your key players, and just win that game by 2 or 3 scores. But then here's the thing. You got to go to Alabama. You got to go to Tuscaloosa. You're 10-1 at this point. And at this point, I see Auburn, if they have done what they have so far and they lose by a score, they could still sneak into the college football playoff. But if they have to do if they've done what this point and win, they could be a top 5 seed. Who knows? If it depends on how your conference championship goes, because you definitely make it if you do all this. But you'd have to go into Alabama and hold firm, not a comeback, not a something that can instill doubt into viewers or into voters. You have to either win convincingly or stay close in a loss convincingly. And that's what would have to happen if you wanted to make the college football playoff. And something like that, I don't know if there's 12% of that happening. However, this talk about the schedule and what it would take to make the college football playoff, it gets me thinking. What is the single most important game on this schedule? And I do eventually want to rank my top 10 or my top 5 most important games this year, along with my top 5 least important, maybe. But I do know my most important home game and my most important away game. So, but real quick, obviously you have to rank the neutral site game. It's Baylor. I mean, that's not really going to count. We're not really going to count that. But I think your most important game of this season, most important home game, I'd say is Florida. I mean, with what has happened with John Summerall and the kind of animosity that, I'm not saying that is between them, but that the media has put between them, being the 2 Auburn coaches, and how the media is with Auburn. They're pumping John Summerall up just because he turned down Auburn and he's going to Florida, and then some people are doubtful about Alex Golis just because he's at Auburn. Well, that was also your first conference game, and that's where if you win that at that point, or like if you win that game, you could be ranked, and then going into a game where you definitely can beat Vanderbilt. And then you get higher ranked, and at that point you can lose to Tennessee and maybe still be ranked. And it's just about, hey, this is a Tiger team who can be ranked and stay ranked. But it's all going to start, the road to relevancy is going to start with this Florida game. And that is probably, in my opinion, the most important home game of the season. And real quick, and before I continue, I wanted to thank my sponsors at Barner Supply Co. Barner Supply has sponsored me for a long time. They've been a long-time sponsor of me, especially since the TFL days, and I'm really thankful for them. And one thing that they have done is they're sending me another hat and a cup, which I'm really excited to show off. But this hat in particular, it means a lot to me because I love how it looks. I love how it feels on my head, and it's very comfortable. It's very comfortable, especially when I wear headphones. So a problem that I have with hats a lot is when I wear headphones, it doesn't fit, or it doesn't fit right. It hurts. It's uncomfortable. With this hat, that problem's not there. It's comfortable. It's durable. This hat is very durable. The label's not coming off anytime soon. All I got to do is really lint roll this hat and it looks brand new. And the size is great. This right here is only on the 3rd or 4th notch, depending on how I want it. And it's like your usual snapback where the variety of sizes you can get are great. But it's so... that's not coming off anytime soon, and nor should it ever come off of your head. Go to barnsupply.com for all your barning needs. And to continue on this hardest game of the schedule topic, the hardest away game, in my opinion, probably has to be, well, not the hardest, but the most important away game has to be. I mean, I'm tied between Alabama and Ole Miss, but I think I'm going to give the edge to Alabama because of how much you have just not been able to win in T-Town, how much you've not been able to win in Tuscaloosa, and now you are going there under a new regime. At this point, you don't know what you're going to look like, whether you're looking for a playoff spot, probably not, or if you're just looking for a bowl game, sadly, or if you're in where I think you're going to be and you're just looking to stay relevant and show that you belong, especially in the first year of a new head coach. And I mean, the games that I really like contested this with is, at Tennessee or at Georgia, but I think and if you have an Alabama game that is an away game, it will always be the most important. And with that, the only other thing I'm going to do is rank the hardest games of the schedule. And I will do the hardest home and the hardest away. And now to me, this isn't as easy as, this schedule, this opponent is this good and they're coming to your place. It's, the stories behind it. What does it mean? And you could say Florida. I mean, Florida, I've already talked about Florida a lot, but I don't think so. You could talk about Vanderbilt. I don't think so. I think the hardest home game on this list will be LSU. Yes, they are by far the best team that will be coming to Auburn, Alabama, but they also has a bit story behind it. LSU with Lane Kiffin, you're going to have Sam Leavitt, who has just been highly praised in already, and people rank him over Byron Brown. I mean, Sam Leavitt's great, but I really believe that Byron Brown is just as good, if not possibly better. And this will be a game where you can earn respect if you win, and if you lose close, you can also earn a little bit of respect. But if this game is close, which I had this down as a loss, and I do think it's going to be lost by 10 or 14 points. However, if this is a close game, I don't think there's a chance you come out of here with a close loss. If this game is kept close, I think the Auburn Tigers come out on top. And then on the other side of things, the hardest away game, easily Georgia. Georgia is they have everything they need for a national championship team right now. And you just haven't been able to beat Georgia lately. And you've gotten close several times, and every time you lose, it just breaks your heart even more and more. But right here, they just got a chance to not really blow you out, but definitely not be close. So I think that LSU will be the hardest home game, and Georgia will be the hardest away game. I just wanted to take a second to record, get a shorter episode out just so I can continue my daily streak. And for the people that do want to watch, thank you for watching. This video is for you. All of you, God bless. Have a great rest of your day, and more damn TFC.